Okay, I did my lesson on first grade and sorting two-dimensional shapes. So the reflection from the prior lesson, I said that we talked about the attributes of triangles and rectangles, and they did well with being able to count the sides of each shape, but some students had troubles remembering that the word vertex or vertices meant like when the two sides of the shape come to a point, or also the corners. The lesson goals and standard. Pretty much the standard wants students to know that all shapes are closed and their closed lines put together, and that the color, size, and orientation of a triangle or any shape doesn't matter, and that it's still the same shape even if it's a different size, color, or flipped around, upside down, or anything like that. Lesson objectives. During the lesson, students will define two-dimensional shapes by their attributes with 100% accuracy, and during the lesson, students will use the two-dimensional shapes as attributes to sort the shapes with 100% accuracy. Materials: SmartBoard, computer textbook, and the worksheets that are provided from the textbook. Contextual factors. I said that they're not crazy about math, but they seem to be enjoying working with the shapes and using the manipulatives with the shapes, and they like using the SmartBoard as well, and that gets them really engaged. So first, for the introduction, I'm going to start out with review of the attributes. So I'm just going to call on students, and then so they can tell me how many sides in a triangle and a rectangle, and then how many vertices, and then I'm just going to write the number right here with my pen. And then I'm going to ask them, which is the triangle and how do you know? And then they should identify this one as a triangle. And then I'm going to ask them why this one, the yellow one, is not a triangle. And that is because it's not closed. Even though it has three sides, it's not closed, and so that does not count as a triangle. And then for just another review game, they have the triangle up here and the rectangle up here, and they're just going to drag it into the correct vortex. So 4 sides would be rectangle, and then if you put it in the wrong one, then it flips back. So I would just have students come up and drag it to the right one. Okay, so then I'm going to show them all these shapes, and I'll say, let's look at these. And then I'm going to ask them, how are they all alike? And so or how are some of them alike? So they might say the colors are alike, they have the same size, they have the same vertices, and they have the same shape. And then I'm going to give them this question. Ms. Sopko wants to sort these shapes to show a group of triangles and a group of rectangles. How should she do this? So first I will say, to do this, let's first get rid of all the ones that are not triangles or rectangles. So on the next slide, I would have students come up and drag the shapes that they want into the trash can. So they would move the oval and the 2 circles into the trash can, meaning that those are not a triangle or a rectangle. Then we have these left, and then I would ask the students, let's figure out how we can sort these. Can we sort them by color to show a group of triangles and a group of rectangles? No, because the color doesn't matter. And then what about size? And then they should say, no, that doesn't matter. And then I say, so how can we sort them? And the student should say, by their shape. And then I'm going to call students up, and I have a little sorting table chart right here, and they're going to drag the pictures to the correct column. So when you drag them all here to the correct ones, then you click check, and then all of them will be corrected. And then if you click reset, and then if you accidentally put them on the wrong one, you click check, it'll give you the X. So then you can just click check, or you can click solve to get the right answer. And so I just have students come up and to the SmartBoard and drag those. And then I have the same thing except with just different colored and different shaped triangles and rectangles. And then for the conclusion, they're just going to review, like I said before, kind of like we started at the introduction, and I'll write in, or I could have the students come up and write in how many sides and vertices is a triangle, square, and circle would obviously have 0 sides and 0 vertices. And then I would give the students work time, and this is when they would work on their worksheets that are given in the textbook. I think the worksheets ask them to just distinguish the difference, kind of like what we're practicing in here. And then assessments, like I said, the form would be the worksheets, and then observations and group discussion would be the informal assessment. Remediation, I thought I could give students who are struggling a little cheat sheet taped on their desk, and so and then it'll remind them how many sides and vertices that each shape has, so every time they learn a new shape I could add it to their cards. And then for the students who understand these concepts easily, they could be introduced earlier to the more complex shapes such as trapezoids and hexagons. And then for language support, I thought I could also give a little cheat sheet to those students. They could put on their desk of different vocabulary words. So, like for example, the word vertices equals or means the word corners. So then they could use that when they're during the lesson or on assignments. And then I could also give them directions verbally. And the resources was the Go Math textbook. And that's it.